And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, I'll tell you, we've got a great show for you today. So you're not going to want to go away. You're not going to want to miss any part of the show for today. Starting off, you know what? On our show today, we're going to discuss what's in the news. New legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I do every day, Monday through Friday. But on today's show, we have special segments with our own Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness group, and he'll be here along with me. We'll be solving the world's healthcare problems and probably talking about current events while we're at it. You know what? There's no limit to what we can talk about, and so I'm looking forward to it. I'll also be dealing with your emails at the end of the show. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. And but before that, you need to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 56 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's going to go down to 38 degrees. It was 36 degrees this morning. It was cold, baby, cold. But you know what? Let me give you the news. I want to encapsulate it, the 10 things, just abbreviated, so you'll kind of know what's going on, and then we'll get into a little more in depth. The first up, the 10 things that you need to know for Tuesday. That's today, your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about all day today and tomorrow. And first up, why the Iowa election results say only so much. Iowa launches the presidential nominating contest, but candidates also face an electorate that's whiter, more rural, and more evangelical than many other states. And the Zika virus called the global emergency. Boy, this is getting tough. The World Health Organization labels the disease's spread in the Americas an extraordinary event that poses a health threat to other parts of the world. And which company has toppled Apple as the world's most valuable? The market value of Alphabet, Google's new parent, now stands at $555 billion, eclipsing Apple's $533 billion. And the UN envoy declares official beginning to Syria peace talks. There's immediate acrimony as the opposition spokesman accuses Russia of producing a new Hitler in Moscow and supporting another Hitler in Damascus. And Chicago homicides are up sharply. Homicides and shootings spike in January, the bloodiest start to a year in the city in at least 16 years. And then Britain approves experiments on human embryos. Some ethicists warn that the landmark decision involving gene editing is a step down the path toward designer babies. Then, winter storm takes aim at Colorado. Between 3 and 4 feet of snow is possible in the state's southwestern mountains from the weather system moving out of the Pacific. And Smithsonian opening African American History Museum. The museum's exhibits will trace the history of slavery, segregation, civil rights, and African Americans' achievements. Then, who's rekindling love story after 45 years? Well, actors Ali MacGraw and Ryan O'Neal return to Harvard and reminisce about the film that turned them into household names. And finally, Super Bowl Circus is known as a media day hits prime time. The NFL moves the supersized press conference to Monday night from its usual Tuesday daytime slot to give more fans a chance to watch live cable. So we'll see what happens there. But right now, let's get into some in-depth information. You know, Clinton wins Iowa. Campaigns turn to New Hampshire. Hillary Clinton tried to turn a skin of her teeth victory in Iowa into a bit of momentum for her battered Democratic campaign, and Ted Cruz sought to lock in his spot at the top of the Republican field as the presidential candidates packed up today and sped to New Hampshire. The contenders descended on the Granite State along with scores of volunteers and staff and quickly scattered for a blitz of campaign rallies and television interviews. Some sought to capitalize on the results of the Iowa caucuses, while others looked to put the best face on poor showings as they settled in for the February 9th New Hampshire primary and beyond. Clinton celebrated her narrow win in the lead-off caucuses and said she expected a tough fight in New Hampshire, noting she'll be campaigning in the backyard of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, where he has been running strong for weeks. Sanders celebrated his stronger-than-expected showing in Iowa, landing at dawn in Bow Inn, addressing a hearty group of supporters who met him. "We're in this for the long haul," he told reporters as his plane flew through the night to the season's second shutdown. You know what? Or showdown, I should say. Indeed, the once unthinkably small margin between the former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State over the self-declared Democratic Socialist suggested the Democratic contest is headed toward a protracted fight between the party's pragmatic and progressive wings. Boy, no question about that. That's for sure. Well, you know what? Whoops, what the heck just happened here? There we go. Now, you know what? A prosecutor says a Virginia girl is stabbed to death the day that she actually vanished. Seventh grader Nicole Madison Lovell was stabbed to death the same day she climbed out of her bedroom window by a Virginia Tech student who got help from a fellow freshman, both before and after the crime, authorities said today. David Eisenhower, the engineering major accused of kidnapping and killing the 13-year-old girl, said, "I believe the truth will set me free." After he was arrested on Saturday, police said. Nicole's mother discovered her missing last Wednesday morning, setting off an intense hunt. Police quickly zeroed in on Eisenhower and then found Nicole's body on Saturday, hidden off a North Carolina road 2 hours south of the campus. You know what? Just sad stuff. That's all I can say. Her mother speaks about her daughter and the fact that she's only 13 years old, the latest on the death of the 13-year-old Virginia girl and the two college students charged. The thing is, the mother of the 13-year-old girl found dead over the weekend says her daughter beat the odds through several health scares and touched many people in her short life. Tammy Weeks spoke briefly at a news conference today. She says her daughter, Nicole Madison Lovell, had passion for pandas, music, and dance, and her favorite color was blue. Weeks says she called her daughter Coley as a nickname. She described Nicole having a liver transplant and later slipping into a coma. As Weeks read her statement, she cried and was unable to finish. She was ushered away and another man finished reading for her. Police said at a news conference that funeral arrangements have been made and details will be released this afternoon, but access will be restricted at the family's request. And you know what? And that's just the way it ought to be, I think. Don't you? Yeah. Well, you know what? The former DA says Bill Cosby is shielded from prosecution. The former district attorney, who declined a decade ago to bring sex crime charges against Bill Cosby, testified today that the decision was intended to forever close the door on prosecuting the comedian. Former Montgomery County District Attorney Bruce Castor took the stand at a pretrial hearing in a bid by Cosby's lawyers to get the case against the TV star thrown out because of what they say is a non-prosecution agreement with Castor. The current district attorney has said there is no record of any such agreement. Cosby, 78 years old, was arrested and charged in December with drugging and violating former Temple University Athletic Department employee Andrea Constant at his suburban Philadelphia mansion in 2004. He could get up to 10 years in prison if convicted. Castor said today that he believed Constant's story, but that proving it would have been problematic because of the serious flaws in the case. And so he declined to bring the charges in 2005. Who knows what the truth is? Who knows who got bought, who didn't get bought, and what happened. But in any event, stick around. We're going to have a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Syria allows aid into a rebel-held area as peace talks stall. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And first off, Syria allows aid into the rebel-held area as peace talks actually stall. The Syrian government allowed aid into a rebel-held area near Damascus today in what appeared to be a goodwill gesture after UN mediated indirect peace talks got off to a rocky start in Geneva. The Syrian Arab Red Crescent delivered 14 trucks of aid provided by the International Committee of the Red Cross to the Al-Tal suburb, said Damascus-based ICRC spokesman Paul Krzyk. He told the Associated Press the delivery included food and hygiene kits for some 3,500 families, as well as 25 metric tons of bulk food. The Syrian opposition had demanded that aid be allowed into 18 besieged areas throughout the country, and that Syrian and Russian forces halt the bombardment of rebel-held areas ahead of the talks, which officially began on Monday. Well, you know what? Here's the latest for you. Top Brazilian U.S. health officials discuss Zika, the latest on the battle against the Zika virus. You know, the Brazilian Health Ministry says Brazil's health minister and the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services have discussed ways the two countries can work together to create a vaccine against the Zika virus and combat the Aedes aegypti mosquito that transmits the virus. And in an email statement from the ministry says the health minister, Marcelo Castro, and U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Sylvia Matches Burrell, talked by phone today. It says the two also agreed to accelerate current investigations into infections caused by arboviruses like Zika that may be linked to cases of microcephaly and Guillain-Barré syndrome. The statement says technicians of the National Institutes of Health and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will meet with technicians of the Brazilian Health Ministry and of 3 biomedical and clinical research centers. The meeting is scheduled for February 20th in Brazil. You know what? When you think about pandemics, you think about things that are this serious, you'd think for Pete's sake they wouldn't be wanting to wait. That's 17 days from now. That's crazy. Well, Clinton's narrow win sparks nervousness among supporters. New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton emerged from Iowa with a razor-thin victory over Bernie Sanders and a new round of nervous second-guessing from supporters. Topping the list of concerns is Clinton's staggering disadvantage with young voters, a crucial Democratic constituency that overwhelmingly sided with Sanders. Clinton supporters are also worried that the campaign is still struggling with a muddled message, a problem that plagued her not only in the opening months of this campaign, but also in her failed 2008 White House bid. But this time, the Democratic hand-wringing is balanced by something more positive, cautious optimism that she has an organization that might overcome her weaknesses. Momentum was with Sanders, said Mo Elfie, a former Clinton campaign aide. The organization kicked in and she got scrappy. While Clinton's voters targeting and get out the vote efforts may have put her over the top in Iowa, barely the campaign underperformed by its own expectations in the hours before the caucuses began. Aides privately told supporters they expected her to win by about 5 points. Well, we know that didn't happen, did it? She won by about 5 votes. Just unbelievable what's going on here. Well, an explosion forces a plane to make an emergency landing in Somalia. An explosion and fire blew a gaping hole in a commercial airliner, forcing it to make an emergency landing at Mogadishu's international airport late today, officials said, and witnesses said. 2 people were slightly injured as 74 passengers and crew of the plane were evacuated after the plane made a safe landing, Somali aviation official Ali Mohammed said. The plane operated by Dalo Airlines and headed to Djibouti in the Horn of Africa was forced to land minutes after taking off from the Mogadishu airport, said Mohammed. The Serbian pilot, Vladimir Vodopivec, was quoted by Belgrade Daily Blick as saying he believed the explosion was caused by a bomb. Boy, you know what? And it just keeps right on going. Well, fast-growing motorcycle group is largely for law enforcement. One of the nation's fastest-growing motorcycle clubs is composed largely of military, police officers, and prison guards. It also embraces the regalia and traditions of outlaw biker gangs, a choice that has provoked deadly clashes with other groups. The Iron Order Club insists it is a law-abiding charitable brotherhood of family men who just like to ride. But experts say its members are increasingly becoming entangled in violence with other biker groups, blurring the line between professionals who are sworn to uphold the law and a biker culture with a long history of criminal activity. It's almost like they are playing dress-up on the weekend and acting out what their perception of an outlaw gang is, said David Devereaux, a spokesman for the National Council of Clubs, which represents hundreds of motorcycle groups. They create aggressive situations with other motorcycle clubs in opposition to the culture. The latest skirmish happened Saturday when the Iron Order and the Moguls Motorcycle Club clashed in a brawl that left a Moguls member dead. Now, don't go away, folks, because when we come back from these brief messages, we're going to do the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine. The first case is a tax lien on a pension is not valid against the beneficiary. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Please don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show. The IRS loses. Just sends chills up and down my spine, and it sets the hair up on the back of my neck. I just love this part of the show. You know what? Let's talk about the first case. A tax lien on a pension is not valid against the beneficiary. So let me tell you, Richard Kelly fell behind on his taxes, and as a result, the IRS put a lien on his assets, including payments from his pension plan, taking part of each. Richard's son was his pension plan beneficiary, and when Richard died, the son became entitled to payments from the plan. The IRS said that its lien still applied to Richard's plan account, so it could still collect on the payments to the son. Well, the son went to court. This is what the judge said. The plan account had not been Richard's property since he couldn't sell or transfer it while alive. So the lien had applied only to the money paid from the account to him as his property. And the money paid to the son is the son's property and therefore escapes the lien. You gotta know, the IRS is always going to try and get it. That's just the way you are. Here's a case the IRS concedes, and you've heard me say it many times. They only concede when they're pretty doggone sure they're not going to prevail in court, and that's what happened here. In this case, the tax court can review an innocent spouse determination. Now, back in 1998, Congress expanded the innocent spouse rules that allow one spouse to escape tax owed on a joint return that is attributable to the other. Now, the IRS then argued that its application of the new rules could not be reviewed by the tax court. However, the court ruled otherwise, saying that it has jurisdiction over these kind of cases and can therefore overrule the IRS. The IRS now has announced that it accepts this in cases where innocent spouse protection is sought after it assesses a tax deficiency, but the IRS further states that it still has the final word when no deficiency is assessed, as is the case when a spouse seeks a refund. So we'll see what happens. Trying to fight the court, I don't see that being a winner. How about this? The IRS loses. A deduction that is disallowed for lack of proof is increased by the court. To the tax court. Now, Lionel Jones claimed a charitable deduction of $6,045 for weekly contributions to 2 different churches. But since he had no receipts or canceled checks for them, the IRS disallowed the entire deduction. Now, Jones filed a case in tax court, and this is what the decision of the court was. Jones's testimony was credible. In addition to that, he presented letters from the 2 churches saying that he had contributed $3,735 to one and $4,466 to the other. A total of $8,201, which was more than he had actually deducted on his tax return. Now, due to his credible testimony and this documentary support, his deduction was increased to that new figure. You know what? You got to love a judge. They're not going to, the IRS, shame on them. They just try to get away with whatever the heck they can do or whatever the heck they want to do, and that shouldn't be what lets them happen. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's where we're at with this situation that we call inside the IRS. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall? This is almost like being in the Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah. You know what? When you're dealing with the IRS, it is like being in the Twilight Zone. Just want to be a fly on the wall. But there's a lot of things they do that if you pay attention to it, you can sometimes use it to your advantage. Now, here's a case here. What do you do when the IRS rejects your offer in compromise? That's where you pay just pennies on the dollar for what you actually owe. The IRS will generally reject an offer in compromise if it determines that it could collect more money, albeit more slowly over time. You can file a petition with the tax court if you think that the IRS has abused its discretion in reaching its decision to reject your offer. Abuse of discretion exists if the IRS employee handling your case fails to consider information submitted to him or her, or fails to follow established IRS procedures in reaching this decision. Now, you have to know there's a formula for an offer in compromise, and you can go to your tax professional. They explain that formula to you. It's easy enough, and if you comply with that formula, you can force the IRS to comply with the offer in compromise and to give it to you. So just keep that in mind. How about this? Beware of relying on a family limited partnership to reduce estate taxes. The IRS continues to win cases in tax court. When an estate claims a discount of the value of securities and real estate held by a family limited partnership. Here's how it works. Assets are transferred before a parent's death. to a family limited partnership, and the parent owns the bulk of the partnership. The balance of the partnership interests are gifted to family members. When the parent dies, the estate takes a lack of marketability discount so that the partnership interest owned by the decedent's estate is worth less than the value of the underlying property held by the partnership. Now, family limited partnership don't create such a family limited partnership when the decedent is elderly or infirm, and the establishment of family limited partnership serves no business purpose other than to reduce estate tax. The decedent should not treat the assets of the partnership as his or her own personal account. Don't fail to legally transfer the title of assets to that family limited partnership. This seems obvious, doesn't it? But many people still fail to put stuff in there. And don't forget to follow appropriate investment and business practices with that family limited partnership. Changing investment strategy is needed, and keeping meticulous books and other records. That is what you've got to do. Now, do not go away. You don't want to miss this. My good buddy Sean LaFave is going to be here with his Geared for Wellness Corner. I've got a number of things I want to talk to him about, and I think he's got a number of things he wants to talk to me about. So we'll talk all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, John, welcome aboard, my friend. I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about today, and I'm sure you've got a lot of things that you want to bring up as well, right?
Absolutely. How are you doing today, Robert?
I am doing great. I am excited. We're going to have an exciting show today. I don't know. I don't know if you want to talk about politics. Boy, you're talking about a skinny win in Iowa for everybody. I mean, other than I think that Trump got trounced a little bit by Cruz, but Hillary just barely squeezed by Sanders. So that's things are looking a little tough out there.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's I don't think that Trump was really truly expected to win Iowa, though, was he?
No, he wasn't.
I think all things considered, he actually fared well. He pulling second place as strong of a second place as he got was really almost a victory in Iowa for him, right?
Oh yeah, it absolutely was. And then the same thing with Rubio. Rubio said he was going to come in and climb in the courts. But doesn't it make you wonder what the heck the other players there are even doing there? They're either in negative polls or 1 or 2 or 3%, and all they're doing is taking the chances away from the 3 that are really out there that are going to be the nominee. One of those 3 are going to be the nominee. There's no question about it.
Yeah, at this point, if you're not one of the 3 that we just mentioned, I don't know. I guess you should just drop out. But I guess Bush took just a stomping. I guess from what I understand, he spent the most money, and he just landed in the dirt big time.
He spent $15 million in Iowa, and got like 1% or 1 vote or something like that.
Yeah, he did poorly, I guess, to put it mildly.
Yeah. You know what? You would think that his super PACs would be running away from him by now. He spent over $30 million so far, in total, out of the $100 million that was set aside. This guy doesn't have a chance. I don't know. The handwriting's on the wall. Why doesn't he just fold up his cards and go away?
Yeah, I don't quite get it. I don't know if he's trying to catch up with Daddy and Big Brother or what he's trying to do, but he really needs to just walk away and stop spending. He stopped wasting money. He's wasted. I mean, think about that: $30 million he's basically wasted. Yeah. And that's an astounding number.
Yeah, I mean, that's embarrassing. The guy spends that kind of money. It goes to show that if your name's Bush, you can't buy the White House, huh?
Yeah, apparently not. Everyone thought you could, but apparently you can't.
Yeah, I mean, bad stuff.
Yep, and I was actually kind of happy to see Bernie do as well as he did. Obviously part of it is I don't like Clinton at all, but it was neat to see. The whole Bernie thing is really such an interesting thing to me because there's a lot of things about him that I really like, but I genuinely can't get past the word socialist, and I don't know if it's just that I can't get out of my mindset, I can't get out of my headspace, or if it's just really really socialism just doesn't work, in the big picture of things. And so how in a democratic society we could even conceive electing a socialist is just it kind of boggles my mind a little bit. But,
yeah. I mean, I just find it. Well, I guess I should just say interesting. It's crazy stuff. Yeah. Just crazy stuff. So, there's a lot going on in the world today. You know that the Zika virus now, they're getting ready to label this thing a pandemic. They're saying that matter of fact, the headline on it says Zika virus called global emergency. The World Health Organization labels the disease's spread in the Americas an extraordinary event that poses a health threat to other parts of the world.
It's already in other parts of the world. It's been in other parts of the world for decades. It's not. There's another theory running around out there too that, and I haven't really researched it, so I'm just kind of talking off of just little bits and pieces that I've caught. And so I hate being one of those guys that quotes Shakespeare and totally misses the entire point of the play. But from what I understand, this issue we're having with the birth defects is is centered around an area where apparently these genetically modified mosquitoes were released as well. So there's another theory that's being thrown out there. And, it's just, I wish people would stop and go, you know what, this Zika virus is just that. It's a virus, and it's been around we've known about it since 1947. Who knows how long it's actually been around? and it's never once was it ever considered any type of health threat, other than just very minor. And all of a sudden, now that coincidentally there just happens to be right around the corner a vaccine for it, now we want to make it a big issue. And I really think it's just one of those things. Follow the money trail, and you'll see where the big smoke screen and the big push is coming from.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. You've actually talked to me about this before, and excuse me, in the way the medical science handles these things. They're obviously not thinking in terms of they're thinking in terms of making money on treatment and not actually solving the problems. Let's move in another direction. I don't know if you saw this or not, but I'm going to be really interested in getting your take on it. And that is that Britain approved a controversial gene editing experiment
for humans.
In a landmark decision that some ethicists warned is a step down the path toward designer babies. Britain gave scientists approval on Monday to conduct gene editing experiments on human embryos.
Yep, I heard about that.
Man,
all I can think of is Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. I mean, that's just what comes to mind every time I think about the concept of genetically modifying human beings. Is it may start out as designer babies. Hey, I want a boy. Okay, well, we can make that happen. I want a girl. Good, yes, we can make that happen too. And then you go, well, I want someone taller. I want someone more muscular. And then pretty soon it comes down to we've got this. It's like the drive to produce something that maybe could be good in the world, but all of a sudden the government gets a hold of it and they use it as something for warfare. They use it as a weapon. Like nuclear power could have been a good thing, but we can also use it to destroy entire cities. And so, it's one of those things that I go, we just really need to stay away from it. But I don't think that we're going to. I think that it's going to slowly creep in one little tiny bit and piece at a time, just like everything else in the world that we realize, what's going on with Monsanto. We finally come to realize that maybe all this stuff that we're putting on all these pesticides and herbicides, maybe there was a time when they weren't so bad, but now they're really, really bad, and they're causing everything from birth defects to cancer to Parkinson's.
Well, yeah, but how does working with the genes and create? I think they're just really stepping over the line here.
I think so too. There are certainly, you could be altruistic about it and go, there's a lot of good things that could come out of it. And maybe we could figure out a way to prevent Down syndrome. You could be guaranteed you're going to have a baby without Down syndrome, but that would be wonderful. But the problem is we're not going to stop there. Yeah. It's going to eventually be, and I know I've talked about this, but before the Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And for those out there who haven't read it, it's basically I would put in quotations, utopian society in which everyone is genetically modified, but they're genetically modified to fit within a caste system. You've got the basic workers, and then you've got the supervisors, and then the middle management and the upper management, and the elite, and so on and so forth. And so you're really genetically engineered to be a follower, to be docile, to be a worker, to be something specific to fit in society. And really, that's your role. There's no getting out of that role. It's more set in stone than even the caste ideology of India. Where they're just really not supposed to. They can break out of that caste system, but they're not supposed to. But this is a thing where you can't. You're genetically not made in a way that you could go from being a worker and work your way up the ladder and become a manager or a leader. You're stuck where you are. And I can see something like that happening in the long run. Genetically engineered warriors, soldiers that go out, and they're super strong, super fast, super powerful. They, but
Sean, if you don't believe our government and our military aren't going to experiment in that direction, then you got your head stuck in the sand, right?
Yeah, and to say that they aren't, to think that they won't, means future tense. I wouldn't be surprised if they already are.
Yeah.
You know, it really wouldn't shock me if someone came out and said, "Hey, look, this is what we're doing." You know, because why wouldn't the military want a super soldier? That would be awesome if I was a military leader. But again, I just, we're going down this path as a race that's just scary.
Yeah. So listen, we got 1 minute before we go on a commercial break, and I want to read something to you, and then I want you to respond to it when we come back from this break. And that is, this just came out today. The White House proposes more money to battle the heroin epidemic, and the Obama administration will propose a significant boost in federal spending to battle the nation's heroin addiction epidemic when the president unveils his budget recommendations next week. The administration will seek a $1 billion increase in the spending over 2 years to expand access to treatment. It'll spend about $127 million on these kind of treatments. So I want to talk to you about that when we come back from this break. Get your ideas on it. I want to suggest something to you right now, and then I want to get your ideas. I'm not so sure that pouring money after heroin addicts is such a good idea. Fighting these heroin, I kind of like the way Switzerland does it. You give these guys a roped off area and let them have drugs. Provide them. Don't let them. Don't make them thieves and crooks to hurt people to get money for drugs. Just go ahead and let them do all they want in a particular area, and they won't get in trouble. They won't have all those things. You know what? They're going to hurt themselves no matter what happens. So I don't see the difference between heroin or marijuana or uppers, downers, or amphetamines or any of those kind of things. I'd like to get your play on that when we come back from this commercial break. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave. It is Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 56 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 37 degrees. Hey, Sean, stop knocking that stuff around. Anyway,
sorry, I dropped my microphone.
For our friends in New York City, it's currently 46 degrees and clear, and for our friend out in Laguna Beach or Newport Beach, who has been probably tipping a few too many, throwing his microphone and everything else around, let's get him back on here to answer our question about heroin addiction. I'm going to start turning your microphone off, until we're ready.
Can you do that?
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Well, I had it turned off, and then I turned it on, and right after I turned it on, I dropped it. Anyway.
So what do you think about this? They're gonna add, all of this money, $1 billion. So it'll be almost $1.25 billion that they're going to spend on heroin addiction. And you know what? All the money that's been spent forever since I can remember has been for naught. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't accomplish anything. What do you think?
I think you and I are in total agreement on this one. That most of the money we've spent on the war against drugs, as they say, has been a losing battle anyway. And, why they would put that much money into specifically heroin. Yeah, heroin's a bad drug, and certainly, it's got its repercussions. But, I'm with you. If people want to do it, they're going to do it. If we can make money off of it, tax it, give them a heroin area where they can go get whacked and do their thing. I guess that's probably not such a bad idea. But really, to me, I look at it and I go, okay, why are you focusing on heroin? When there's really a bigger problem in our country of legal drugs that are being abused far more than heroin is. Look at Adderall and Percocet and the Dilaudid and all these different drugs, all these pharmaceutical drugs out there that they're massively being abused. And these people of notoriety who are able to get their own physicians to prescribe them prescription drugs that they wind up dying because they're overdosed or they don't take them properly. That Michael Jackson comes to mind. That's crazy stuff. Well, it is crazy, and there's no reason to single out. I don't know why you would single out any one drug. If you want to get drugs off the market, our and I call them drug cartels, the pharmaceutical companies here in this country are doing more damage. More people die from prescription drugs in this country than die from cocaine and heroin put together. So, they're fighting a battle that is clearly has some sort of agenda set to it.
Now here's the thing. If we allow smokers to smoke, and we already know that smoking causes or at least contributes to the cause of cancer, and these guys have made their own decision that they don't care if they shorten their life or or whatever happens, then why do we care whether it's cigarettes or marijuana or heroin or why do we care if they're going to do it to themselves anyway? And there's no way to stop you. What are we going to do? We're going to throw them in jail? That doesn't make sense. We're going to spend somewhere around $60,000 per inmate per year because they want to do heroin. They're going to get it in. They're going to get in jail too.
As I said, they'll get it in prison just as well, which absolutely blows my mind, but it happens. And it's just the only thing I can think is there must be some sort of an agenda outside of we just want to get rid of heroin addicts, because it's got to go beyond that. They wouldn't say let's focus just on heroin unless there was a very good reason for it. A lobby group involved.
But the dumb part about this is if you just let them have the damned heroin, give them a place to do it, and provide it so that they don't have to kill people or rob people to get the money to do it, then they'll get rid of themselves. They'll overdose and they'll die, and we don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
The old joke about how you cure the homeless and the hungry. You feed the homeless to the hungry. That takes care of the whole problem.
You feed the homeless to the hungry.
Yeah.
It's true.
And so
as we talked about last week or Tuesday, it's safe and effective, right?
And so if I just don't understand, Switzerland, I don't know why I keep thinking about Switzerland, but they do have areas that are blocked off where people want to use drugs. They can get their drugs there. They can use them. They can do any kinds of drugs you want, and you're not going to get thrown in jail. They just want to make sure you stay in your own area. They provide this stuff. They don't want you to get. They don't want you to hurt anybody. They don't want you to rob anybody, and that kind of eliminates that. The other thing it would eliminate if the government allowed this kind of stuff that way, you'd eliminate these Mexican cartels and these other drug pushers from getting anywhere, because we'd be letting the people have it. They wouldn't need these people anymore. They'd go broke. They'd have to find another business.
Yeah, they wouldn't need the black market because it's available on the open market.
Yeah, and I'm just guessing that. And I don't know what I'm going to say something that I don't know is accurate. I'm guessing that most of these drug cartels and these people, their biggest business is probably in the United States, not the rest of the world. I could be wrong about that.
I would venture to say that you're accurate, because when you look at pharmaceutical drugs, we're just a nation of drug users. I mean, that's just, there's no doubt about it. We are a nation of drug users, whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, heroin, or prescription painkillers or whatever. We compromise 5% of the world population, and we consume 75% of the world's pharmaceuticals. That's going to tell you what our drug mindset is in this country.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going straight back to Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. They would get the workers, and then at the end of the day, they would give them soma. That was the drug. I don't know if soma was actually a drug when he wrote this back in, I think it was the 20s. But or if soma was named after the book, or if the book used the word soma because there was a drug that already existed. But they would give the workers soma at the end of the day to keep them happy, because it would kind of zone them out, and then they would really just kind of be happy and pain free, and they would just veg for the rest of the evening. And if you were extra good, you could get a couple of them, and if you wanted to go on vacation, they would give you enough to where you could go on vacation for days just on a.
It's interesting you'd say that. When I was a young man, and I mean a young man in my 20s, I used to go to the beach a lot, right? Well, I was working at this job while I was going to school, and I worked nights, so I go to the beach in the daytime. Well, I had gone to Huntington Beach and fell asleep, and I got burned horribly, so bad that I could rub my arm and the skin and the water and everything would come out of there. I wound up having to go to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed for me Soma compound. Well, I took that thing, and I want to tell you, knock you out cold, because you couldn't lay, I was burned. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't move, couldn't do anything. They gave me this thing and I couldn't feel anything. I tried to go to work. I was in my car. I could not keep my eyes open. I couldn't function. I had to get off the road and have my wife come pick me up. That stuff's brutal.
Yeah. And that's basically how they describe it in the book too, is, these people would take this stuff and they were gone. They were totally, docile, and they weren't going to cause any trouble. And if you took enough of it, you just go on basically a solo vacation. So did it make you feel, was you just out of it, or did you actually feel kind of euphoric? Or I've never taken some.
No. I felt nothing. It took the pain away and made me sleepy. I couldn't keep my eyes open. It was a high. I couldn't keep my eyes open. So listen, we've got to take our second break, and then we're going to go into our next segment where our segment's a bit longer. But before we do, I want you to think about this in the headlines. It just came in today. Smokers in Italy are hit with a new fine to protect the young. Smokers in Italy are now facing fines of up to $600 if they light up in a car with a child or pregnant woman, or if they toss a cigarette butt on the street. And so let's talk about that when we come back from this break.
All right.
We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave and the Gear for Wellness Corner. And you know what? If you're going to drop your microphone or you're going to make a lot of noise, let me know and I'll turn the doggone thing off. Otherwise, you turn yours
like
off.
that.
Yeah, we'll be right back after these brief messages with Sean LaFave.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:02 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 56 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. On his way down to 37 degrees. But you know what? If you're one of our listeners in Chicago, Illinois, it's currently 40 degrees and overcast. There, it just got done. It was raining and now it's finally stopped. But you know what? Talking about overcast, you know, Sean, let's talk about the smoker deal in Italy. What do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? And it's progressive, right?
it's progressive in it's progressive as, I think you know, like the progressive tax. Yes, it's progressive as in it's cutting edge kind of progressive.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think it's necessary. You know, you can't, you no matter how many rights you have in a country, you don't have the right to take away someone else's health. You know, unless of course you're city municipalities and you put lead in the water, but you know, I don't have the right to do something that's going to contaminate your home or your living space or your workspace, or, you know, even companies, private companies that have done something, whether intentional or otherwise, that endangered their employees or put their health at risk, you know, are getting sued. I mean, think of the class action lawsuit for things like mesothelioma, you know, that's from asbestos. And so, yeah, you put a child at risk, certainly, you know, especially that's especially someone who doesn't have the ability to choose to be in that situation or not, you know, and I think that women who smoke when they're pregnant or do certain things, in fact, we talked about that new law. We talked about that a couple of months ago. There was the first case that actually a woman was arrested and detained for smoking crack while she was pregnant. Right after her baby was born, she was taken into custody. And, you know, I think that the same thing should apply. You know, you don't have the right to make someone else sick, not even your own child. And so I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. I think, and you know what? In a $600 fine, that's U.S. dollars, a $600 fine, man, somebody's going to think twice before they start abusing that law.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would definitely think so, because that's a pretty stiff fine. You know, $600, and most people can't. The average person will go, oh my gosh, $600. For some people, literally that's their rent or their mortgage. My first mortgage, when I moved to Wichita, Kansas, this was in 1999. So we're not talking, you know, like back in the 50s or something. 1999, my first mortgage was $425. You know,
and mine was $368. My very first mortgage. You know,
you probably had a much nicer house than I did too.
That was a 2,000 square foot home, brand new home. Yeah. And you know what? And I got it, and I got it in a lottery. My wife and I had to stand in the rain in a lottery. And I'm not going to go through that whole story, but anyway, basically, you know, that's going way back. I remember my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, some years before my wife and I bought our home, they bought a beautiful home out in the Chino Valley. It was $32,000.
Yeah, amazing. What year was that?
Oh gosh, it had to be in the early '60s, I'm guessing. You know, just hey, listen, I've got something right up your alley here. I
guess we're done. I guess we're done with Italian smokers.
Yeah, we're done with Italian smokers. But, you know, but here's something that I'm going to give you time on, because you talk about it all the time, and this was just in the headlines today in the health and science area of the Associated Press, and it says, and it's from Congress, drug makers plan to price hikes to boost profits. It says 2 drug makers have made a practice of buying and then dramatically hiking the prices of low-cost drugs given to patients with life-threatening conditions, including heart disease, AIDS, and cancer, according to excerpts from thousands of documents released by federal lawmakers. A congressional review of more than 300,000 pages from Turing Pharmaceuticals and Valiant Pharmaceuticals reveals how executives plan to maximize profits while fending off negative publicity over the price hikes. Can you believe this? Of course you believe it. You've been talking about it for months.
Yeah, of course I do believe it. Yeah, I mean, think about it. I can never remember the guy's name, but, you know, he was, for a while, the most hated guy in this country because he bought that AIDS drug and then raised the price by, like, something ridiculous. It was like 70 times the price or something.
Oh, yeah.
It went from, like, $17 up to, like, $800 or something ridiculous. I can't even remember what the increase was.
Oh, but, yeah.
Well, you know, that's unfortunately a common practice.
Well, here's one that, you know, it says at the center of the investigation is Turing's former CEO, Martin Shkreli, I think is how you pronounce it, who became the poster child of pharmaceutical industry greed last fall for hiking the price of life-saving drug by more than 5,000%. 1,000%. That drug, Daraprim, is the only approved medication for a parasitic infection which mainly strikes patients with weakened immune systems, including those with cancer and AIDS. The patient on the drug expired decades ago.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah. I've said it a million times. The pharmaceutical companies are not there to heal people, to cure people, to fix diseases. They're there to make money, period. End discussion. It's a for-profit organization. They're not, they are not, benevolent. That's not it's not, as Adam Smith so eloquently put it in his book, The Wealth of Nations, it's not by the benevolence of the butcher or the baker that we expect our meal, but from their regard to their own self-interest. And, so they want to make a profit, and the pharmaceutical companies are the same way, unfortunately, because people will neglect their health to the point where now they're scared to death because they might die, or body parts might start falling off, or whatever the case might be. So they're willing to pay for these drugs, but really even more so, they're letting their insurance. They're saying, "I paid my insurance, now my insurance should have to pay for this." And the insurance companies are paying out the wazoo for pharmaceutical drugs that the average person will never be able to afford if they didn't have insurance.
Yeah, unbelievable. So listen, I've kind of been commanding everything you've been talking about for at least your first block of time, and now I think that what I need to do is find out, was there anything specific that you wanted to talk about on the show today?
There is, and I'm going to get to it in a second. I want to throw something out there because I don't know if we have any. I want to throw this out there for my veterans, my fellow brothers in arms out there.
Okay.
Because we all know that as veterans you have certain privileges and rights and these things that but I just found out something that I didn't realize before. And I'm not a big fan of health insurance at all. And matter of fact, I haven't had health insurance on myself for years.
What happens if you get catastrophically ill? Won't it bankrupt you?
Yeah, I guess it probably would, but I've just been. I don't know. I guess I'm just one of these people that I look at the cost benefit analysis, and I go, the average person, is on average. Again, insurance companies are there to make a profit, which means on average, more people are spending more than they're receiving on average. And I'm a person who's good at taking care of my health and those kind of things. So I go, you know what? I've got a better chance than even the average person of not having that happen to me. But I went to the VA, it's because I am a veteran. Not only am I a veteran, but I'm also, I've been deployed in combat. I'm actually a veteran of 3 different foreign wars.
Well, no, don't go so quick, because you're telling me something that I didn't know about you. And first of all, I want to thank you sincerely for your service. I hold our current military and our vets in the highest of esteem. I think it's unbelievable, and I think it's also unconscionable the way we treat them when they come home. But what branch of the service were you in?
I was in the Air Force. I refueled airplanes in flight. That was my job. I did it 4 years on active duty and 10 years as a reservist. And there's a big part of me that wishes I would have stayed in those extra 6 years to get my retirement, my official retirement. But, I had a business that I was running. It was back when I was living in Wichita, Kansas, and our business was very successful. We were doing great. And I knew that if I stayed in, we were deploying, because it was post 9/11, and we were deploying overseas so often. They even told us, they said, you'd be expected to be gone a minimum of 2 months a year.
So you were in the Gulf War issues.
I was, yeah. So I was, my first deployment was for the Gulf War. I went over there just before the Gulf War started in January of 1991, and I was there until basically after they called it. They didn't actually originally call it. It was never. There was, by the way, there's never been a ceasefire called in that area. We've been at war since, I think it was January 16th. I think it was the day that we first started the attacks. So since January 16th of 91, we have continuously been at war in the Middle East with Iraq.
Well,
a lot of people forget that. There's never been a ceasefire declared.
But have we actually had, and I don't think we have, I don't think we've actually had a declared war by Congress since World War II. Well, maybe Korea. Yeah, Korea. No, Korea was a police action. Vietnam was a police action. I don't know that the Gulf War was a declared war. I think it was also a police action.
No, it was a declared war.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was a declared war. Yeah, and so we've never called a ceasefire. So, anyone who's deployed over there since January 16th of 91 is considered a veteran of foreign war if you've gone into theater. So yeah, in that general vicinity. So yeah, that was an actual declaration of war that we called, and of course that was by the first Bush, and it was just never. That's why Clinton's been able to go in and bomb. The second Bush was able to go in and bomb, and Obama's been able to go in and bomb and attack.
Because we've never ceased.
Yeah, we never ceased ever. Yeah, so that was my first war, and then my second one was when we went over to actually free Iraqi freedom, to free the people of Iraq from Saddam Hussein, and then there was enduring freedom, which was Afghanistan. So, because the first one was actually, the first Gulf War was to free Kuwait from Iraq, and then we freed the Iraqi people from Saddam Hussein.
Absolutely.
And then at the same time, we went over to Afghanistan so that was enduring freedom. But what I found out, I went to the VA just so I wanted to get an ID card is what I really wanted. I don't know why, but I was like, you know what, maybe I should have this. It'll come in handy. So
wait a minute, they don't issue that to you when they muster you out of the service?
No, you don't get an ID card unless you've retired. If you want to get a VA card, you have to go to the VA and apply for it. I've been out for years. My official termination date for my reserve time was 2010, although I unofficially separated in 2008 was the last time that I actually served, put on my uniform and served. But my official separation date was 2010, and so I never got a VA card. I never had a reason to, but I was going to get it. And what I found out was, I was talking to the guy there, and he says, well, do you want to sign up for the insurance that qualifies for the Obamacare coverage? And I said, well, I said, how much does that cost? He goes, well, since you're, we're deployed over, you have, a service time over in a war zone, you get 5 years of free full coverage health care. And I was astounded. I had no idea that was a benefit to me. And so anyone who's out there who's listening,
wait a minute,
in the military,
are you telling me that our boys that are serving in war zones are not even told about their benefits?
Well, apparently I wasn't. If I was asleep when they told us that part. So it could have been, when you separate from the military, there's so much information they throw at you. And I separated from active duty, and then I went on to go in as a reservist. And when you separate from the reserves, I'll be honest with you, they're a little bit more, relaxed than active duty. So maybe the briefing wasn't as thorough. They may have given me the information and expected me to read it, and I just never read it. Or maybe they said something, and I was just like, well, whatever, I'm never going to need that. I was, everything in life was good, but I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone out there who's a veteran of a foreign war who was deployed in a combat scenario, that you qualify for 5 years through the VA, 5 years of healthcare benefits. So I don't have to pay for healthcare for the next 5 years. I'm like, how cool is that? Not that I expect to use it, but my only thought was,
isn't it nice to know you have it if you do need it?
Yeah, it's nice to know if I have it, if I do need it. For something like, what if I'm out, at the beach and, I'm skimboarding and I break my arm or something weird like that, I can recover from that. That wouldn't drive me into the dirt, but it would certainly be nice that I have to pay for it, to know that my country is willing to compensate me for my time, spent over in, serving in combat, which is, it's kind of cool. And then after that, then it's based off of salary if I want to continue on after that, after those 5 years. And so I just thought that was a really nice benefit, because you hear a lot in the social media and the news about the veterans, they don't have access to health care and on and on. And I'm sure there's probably some truth to it. Part of it may be, they're stretching the truth a little bit. Maybe there's guys that do have access, but they don't know how to get access to it, because they're whatever, they're homeless, and maybe they it could be something about them mentally just not being able to go through the process or whatever the case might be. I don't really know what the reason is why they say that these veterans aren't able to get access to health care. I've never really researched it, but I know that it's there, and it was kind of nice to have a guy just say, hey, look, you know what, you call. I had no idea. That's not what I went there for, but so I went in and I got the paperwork going, and I'm getting everything processed, and I had to
so let me ask you, is he able to actually, access a computer and actually find your records and find out that you really did exist, or do they do that search after you fill out the paperwork?
Yeah, so what I did was I submitted my paperwork to the VA, and then he said what I need is there was several different documents. Because I was a reservist, when I was active duty, I separated, and they give you what's called a DD-214, and that's your separation that shows that I was honorably discharged. And but then as a reservist, whenever you get activated, so as a reservist, you're just in reserve mode, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. But if they activate you and send you over, like I went to Turkey, I went to Spain, I went to United Arab Emirates, I went to Bahrain, I went to all these different places deployed. I even got deployed to Washington State one time. How that for cool? in the Spokane. That was, man. I'd say, well, right after we started our activations, that was the first place I went was Spokane, Washington. I'm like, yes, I get to fight the war from Spokane. But then there was actually the funny thing was there was a mix up in paperwork, and they sent another crew out to replace us from another base or another set of crews. There was actually 4 crews there, and then by the time we got home, they realized it was a mistake. But since the other guys were already there, they left him there. So I was really kind of bummed. But so I ended up going but I did get to go to Spain out of it, and I got to go to some other great places. Yeah. But every time you would deploy and come home, you would activate and then deactivate. And every time they deactivated you, they gave you a new DD-214. Well, this guy needs. I have like probably a half a dozen. I probably have 8 or 10 of them. Actually.
Wait a minute. But what if you didn't have them? You know what? We got to take a commercial break. Let's talk about that some more when we come back from this break. I find it just really interesting, and just so that you'll know, before you start coughing, it's 39 degrees and raining again in Chicago. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And if you're one of our listeners in Paris, France, first of all, it's time for you to be in bed and asleep. But we do appreciate you listening to us. It's currently 43 degrees and clear there. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, so the DD222 or whatever you called that thing.
14, yeah.
What would happen if you didn't have? I mean, first of all, why would you keep them? I would have thrown them away a long time ago. Is it something you can go on a computer and reprint, or if you lose those things, you're just out of luck?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of my DD214. And like I said, every time I got activated and then taken off of activation, they gave me, you basically separate, a DD214 is separating from active duty. So every time that I got off, when they activate you as a reservist, you're now considered active duty. And then when they deactivate you, then you get a DD214, and I probably got like 8 or 10 of them, And so I have a couple of them, and they've always served me well anytime I ever needed them. For certain benefits, they want to see a DD214 that shows that you were active duty and that you were honorably discharged. Because it also shows, what type of discharge you got. But since I don't have all of them, and he needs all of them in order to process all of my paperwork and get me my ID and everything, all I did was there's a website out there that's it's archives with an S, archives.org, and you go on there and there's a way to request your military records. So basically I requested my military records, one request for my active duty time and another request for my reserve time. And so those will all get sent to me within 3 weeks, and then I'll take them and I'll have to shuffle. There will literally be a huge stack of forms, and I'll have to go through and find all my DD214s and bring them into him. And I'll be good to go.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's great information.
Yeah, it is, especially for really there are a lot of benefits out there going to the VA. There's certain and I found out too that because I've got hearing loss in my left ear that I'm eligible for because I've got 3,500 hours flying in the KC-135, and it's a really loud airplane, and we would wear a headset, like David Clark headset, which did protect us from the noise. But if you wanted to talk what we call cross cockpit, meaning without the intercom system, it was hard to hear each other, and you had to yell at each other because our airplane was really loud. And so I would always, my microphone that came off of one of the ear cups came off of the right side. So the left one, I would always pull back to hear what the guy that was screaming at me in this loud airplane was saying. Well, over the years, it basically took a toll on my hearing, and so I've lost a certain range of hearing in my ear, and I definitely noticed that when someone's talking to me, especially in a room that has a lot of background noise, I kind of turn my right ear towards them more because I can hear better. But I found also, he said, he goes, you can make a claim for that. And he goes, you can get disability. It might be a couple $200, $300 a month that they'll pay you for having that disability. Depends on if it's 10, 20%, whatever the case might be. So I it's kind of cool to know that there are benefits out there available, and they'll still take care of you even years after you've separated.
Okay, so now how long has your last separation been, and that no one has even recognized the fact that you got somebody out there that has served in a number of actions and is getting none of his benefits? And why doesn't somebody just call you up and say, "Hey, buddy, you're still alive. How come you're not applying for these things?"
I don't know. I guess they kind of expect you to be a little proactive. That's kind of part of being in the military. To survive in the military, you kind of need to be proactive, and I guess they just expect you to continue that on in your civilian life, even if it comes to your military benefits. I'm sure I was given a packet, but if I had sat down and read the entire thing and highlighted the important parts, I would have probably known all this. I'm fairly confident that happened. But, when they hand you this big booklet and life is good and everything's happy and you're making money and, you're super healthy and everything in your life is great, you really don't think about it because you've got too many other things. And you're like, I'll set that down and I'll read it later, or I won't read it later, or whatever the case might be. And I'm sure that was the case with me. I'm sure I was given the tools that I needed to find out all this information. You're talking, I don't know how many tens or hundreds of thousands of guys and men and women have been in the military that no one's going to sit down and call every single one of them. So
okay, so now, how long has it been since you separated the last time?
Okay, so the last time I actually, as we say, donned my uniform and served was the summer of 2008.
2008. So it's been 8 years since then, and you could have been getting disability of $200 or $300 a month, right? So that's $2,400 a year for 8 years. That's a pretty. Will they pay you the back disability?
No, I asked him about that. He said they could pay back. The most that they'll pay back is a year. So I could theoretically get a year, but it could just start when I file the claim, which I'm actually going in tomorrow to file a claim for that. Either way, it's not a big deal. It's not like it's the end of the world. It'd be nice if they gave it back for a full year.
You know what? But it's a nice dinner every month that the government's going to pay for.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But that's with wine, and your good friend Robert Cardoza.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just going to say, actually, you're paying for it. Maybe we should cut the middleman. You can just send me a check every month. Maybe Bernie Sanders could just send me a check every month. He apparently is worth $300,000. So,
being worth $300,000, he's probably the poorest guy in the Congress if he's only worth $300,000.
Someone made the point about that. Why are we going to trust a guy who's really never held a job and is only worth $300,000 after 40-something years in Congress?
Yeah. This man is not taking advantage of some of this inside trading that congressmen are allowed to do.
I know. You would think that either he has truly given away all of his money true to his stance on socialism, or he just really not good at taking bribes.
You know what? Maybe he's a lot dumber than he looks.
Yeah, I don't know that that's possible.
So, hey, listen. We're just eating up time like crazy here, but this is really interesting. But you've only got about 7 minutes before we have to say goodbye to each other. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about besides your?
Well, there was, and there still is, but I don't know that 7 minutes is enough to cover it. But we could certainly touch on it and bring it up on Thursday and finish it up on Thursday.
Well,
but,
that's a good idea.
I've been, and maybe we can just kind of briefly touch on this and maybe go to talk about some other fun stuff and then really cover this in full on Thursday. But I've been doing a lot of research on all these different things, about, just everything from, diet to, we talked about diet and exercise, a couple of weeks ago. And there's everyone's heard of fasting. We all know what fasting is. And it's really weird because in this country, fasting is something that the vast majority of people don't ever do, even though it's talked about. It's a part of almost every culture in the world.
Should you do it? Other than as a penance, should you? Health wise?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think when you look at a lot of things, that go on, when you say penance, you think of like religiously speaking, people would fast. Think of Mahatma Gandhi. In India, he fasted to stop the war. But there's a lot of I think that any time that a religion talks about things like that, there's usually another benefit to it outside of just spirituality, and even the Bible talks about fasting, and it even talks about when you do fast, don't walk around moaning and whining and griping about it. Just do it and just be who you are, and don't bring attention to yourself and let everyone know, I'm fasting, I'm so hungry and I'm tired, don't do that. That's even the Bible says not to do that.
What is the health benefit to fasting?
So the health benefit of fasting, and what I was researching here recently was using fasting as a prevention for Alzheimer's.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and now there's it makes a lot of sense when you really stop and you understand exactly how fasting works. And fasting is excellent for weight loss, not just because simply it restricts your calories, but the way you fast and the way you restrict those calories is going to make a difference too on burning fat and why.
Okay, but now I got to stop you because I've heard you say before that when you don't eat a balanced diet, when you don't eat the right way, that your body goes into a protection mode and starts storing this stuff, and you actually start putting on inches as opposed to getting rid of them. What is a good fast, and how long should you do it?
So there's different ways to fast, and what I'm really speaking of here is called intermittent fasting. You can fast. So there are people who will fast for days on end, or weeks, or even months. You can fast for.
Okay, so I don't
know if months, but you can definitely fast for weeks on end.
Well, fasting is not eating, right? You're not gonna do without nutrition in water. You're gonna die.
Well, yeah, you need water. You can still drink water, but so intermittent fasting is really kind of the thing that to focus on. And when they say intermittent, it can be done a couple of different ways. It could be maybe twice a week you restrict your caloric intake down, so something really small like maybe 500 calories, and you do that maybe every Wednesday and Sunday or whatever day you want to choose. Or intermittent fasting could be. You restrict your food intake to maybe an 8-hour period during the daytime instead of eating stretched out from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or having those snacks or whatever. You only eat during an 8-hour period. There's different ways that you can do what they call intermittent fasting, or it could just be, you do a couple days in a row on a week or something along those lines. And what that does is your body stores glycogen so that it has sugar available to it to burn. Well, when you intermittent fast, you do a couple things. One, you deplete those glycogen stores, and you never give your body a chance to fully replenish them. And when your body runs out of sugar for energy, then it eventually has to go back to burning fat for energy. And that's where we talked about before the leptin receptors, or the hormone leptin burning fat. But the problem with a lot of people is their leptin receptors are burned out, so they can't use leptin to burn fat for energy. But what intermittent fasting does, anytime you intermittent fast, it reduces inflammation and it reduces oxidative stress. And those two things are very key in healing the leptin receptors, is reducing that inflammation. Almost every one of the modern day epidemic diseases that we're looking at, everything from diabetes to, fibromyalgia to, there's a long list, chronic fatigue, just general aches and pains, malaise, I can't admit Malaysia, that's a country. There's all these, everything is based, right? What we're looking at is inflammation. So reducing inflammation for everything from diabetes to weight loss to migraines to whatever, you name it. If you can address inflammation, you can address these issues at the root cause. And so intermittent fasting will reduce the inflammatory process in your body. And so what that's going to do is it's going to help speed up the recovery of those leptin receptors, so your body can burn fat for energy. But and how much time do we have? I should probably know this.
You got 1 minute.
Okay, so this will be great. This will be a good teaser. We're going to talk about this next week.
Good. So no. We're going to talk about it this week.
Not next week. I'm sorry, next Thursday. This coming Thursday. This Thursday. So what happens is intermittent fasting and exercise both kind of have the same effect on what's called your neurotrophic factors. And neurotrophic factors are a protein in the brain, and what they do is they stimulate the growth of neurons. And so that's how they're saying, and this is, think not just Alzheimer's, but think ADD, think Asperger's, think any type of depression. You know how they say,
So
exercise.
We've got 20 seconds. To fast means not to not eat, but to reduce your caloric input, right?
Boy, I don't know what just happened. My radio turned on. So fasting means just drinking water. It means no caloric intake.
Okay.
So you're just not eating food.
So if I'm going to fast,
and you think about it, we all fast every day, and it's called sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's why breakfast is called breakfast, because you break your fast. It's break fast. So you broke your fast from the night before. But what they're saying is maybe extend that fast out, and then restrict your caloric intake to don't eat all day long. Eat for 8 hours during the day, or take 2 days a week or maybe every other day, and restrict your caloric intake to where you can't rebuild those glycogen stores. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Thursday. I'm going to go into a lot more detail. I'm going to drag this out a lot longer and give you really a lot more solid info, but how it is that intermittent fasting, not only for weight loss, is fantastic, but really it can help prevent things like Alzheimer's, dementia. It can help prevent depression. It can help overcome ADD or ADHD and all those types of really neurological disorders that we're talking about by reducing inflammation and repairing those neurons. So we'll get into that on Thursday.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. You know what? That's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, listen, buddy, go out, stay safe, stay happy, make everybody around you happy, which is what you do all the time anyway. And we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Sounds great, Robert. Thank you so much. I had a fun time.
All righty, me too. And we'll be right back after these brief messages. You know what? We're going to talk about the birthdays for the day. We're going to talk about the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. So don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5600. 5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? It's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is protect your intellectual property while traveling. Yes, absolutely. You know what? Let's tell you all about that. You know, many business travelers aren't aware of the threat of espionage, but the dangers are greater and more prevalent than ever before. What can you do to protect yourself and your intellectual property when conducting high-stakes business travel, especially overseas? Here are a few tips for you. First of all, avoid disclosing your travel details to strangers and use a disposable cell phone. Install a asymmetric email encryption program such as Pretty Good Privacy. You know, that's PGP on your computer. And put sensitive business documents on password-protected USB devices. That's where you want to have them. And never use complimentary Wi-Fi when traveling, and always use a trusted VPN. You know, that's going to protect you from viruses and stuff like that. And carry all your electronics with you at all times. Don't pack them and send them away. Use a strong passphrase instead of a password, a passphrase, not a word. And finally, make it a habit to power off your devices when they are not in use. You know what? It's silly to keep them on because people are going to try and attack them, and you've got to be careful about that. Now, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And you've heard me say this many times. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You control whether you're successful or you fail, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, you know, friendly or unfriendly. You control it all. It's all about your mental attitude. Now, the secret for today is there is a mighty power in your heart. To experience this power firsthand, the next time that you are in a conversation with somebody, imagine that your words are coming from your heart rather than your mind. Now, while speaking, stay focused on your words coming from your heart. As you do this, you'll feel a wave of utter bliss move through you. As you become practiced, you'll see the effect of your heart on the person that you are speaking with. The power of your heart will also reach many others, as nothing can get in the way of its powerful radiation. I'm telling you, folks, this sounds odd, but it really does work. Well, you know what today is. Sure you do. It is somebody's birthday. And you know what? This person, really famous person, made us all happy. She's an actress and a culture figure whose hair was emulated by millions of young women, and from Charlie's Angels. So she was born in 1947, passed away a number of years ago. Happy birthday to Farrah Fawcett. And here's a gal. I actually just saw her on TV yesterday. A beautiful woman. She was born in 1954. A model best known for her 3 appearances on the cover of Sports Illustrated. She's still beautiful today. Happy birthday, Christy Brinkley. And here's a person born in 1977, singer, songwriter, musician, record producer, dancer, and philanthropist. Happy birthday, Shakira. And then, happy birthday to India, born in 2001. Yeah. Well, what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you on February 2nd, 1933, Adolf Hitler dissolves the German parliament. And in 1974, the F-16 flies for the first time. And in 1989, Soviet war in Afghanistan, the last Soviet Union armored column leaves Kabul. And finally, in 1990, Apartheid. F.W. de Klerk allows the African National Congress to function legally and promises to release Nelson Mandela, and does. What a time. I actually lived through all these things. It's actually fantastic. Well, our quote for today comes from Matt Frewer, and Matt says, "Never knock on death's door. Ring the bell and run away. Death really hates that." I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? You know what? It's time for us to talk about those interesting but useless facts, and we've got a number of them, and we're going to try and give them to you here for the next couple of minutes. First off, did you know that George W. Bush was a cheerleader? Yeah. How about this? The definition of a white Christmas in the UK is for a single snowflake, perhaps amongst a shower of mixed rain and snow, to be observed falling in the 24 hours of December the 25th. That would make it a white Christmas. And, lobsters are scared of octopuses. The sight of one makes a lobster freeze. Yeah. You know what? So maybe we use octopus to catch lobsters, and that makes for a really nice party. How about this? Did you know that enamel is hardest substance in the human body? That's the enamel on your teeth. Yeah, when you start losing it, it causes problems. How about this? Did you know the Christmas tree displayed in Trafalgar Square in London is an annual gift to the United Kingdom from Norway and has been that way since 1947? The Norwegian spruce, given it's a token of appreciation of British friendship during World War II from the Norwegian people. Yeah, that's nice to have those kinds of traditions, isn't it? How about this? In some smaller towns in the state of Arizona, it is illegal to wear suspenders. Yeah, well, I could say a lot about that, but I'm not going to. Why would I? How about this? Did you know that 7 out of every 10 hockey-playing Canadians will lose a tooth during a game? For Canadians who don't play hockey, that figure drops to 5 out of 10. Yeah, go figure. How about this? Britain's first escalator was installed in Harrods in 1878. I'm surprised. I didn't realize escalators were around that long. That's quite a thing. Did you know that the first baseball player to be named Rookie of the Year was Jackie Robinson, and that happened in 1947. Wow. And let's see here. The only country to register 0 births in 1983 was the Vatican City. That makes sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. Now, I'm gonna leave you with that one, and we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Juan Estrada from Linden, New Jersey. He's asking about being a non-custodial parent. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're coming down to the wire, and I want to answer your emails, but I want to remember to encourage you to always use a licensed professional before you do anything. We try to answer your emails as thoroughly as we can, comprehensively as we can. Sometimes the information you send is a little sketchy. We still do the best that we can for you. We also want to encourage you to get our app. You know, we've got them out there. They're absolutely free. If you have an Apple product or you have a Windows product or an Android product, the app is going to let you listen to our shows live if we're broadcasting live. You chat with us during the show if you choose to, or if you just want to hear some of the archive shows, they're right there for you as well. If you have an Apple product, go to the Apple Store and search Robert Cardoza Live, and it's right there. It's absolutely free. Download it. And if you have an Android or a Windows product, go to googleplay.com, and it's available there for you too. Just search Robert Cardoza Live and download it. It's free. Well, my first email today comes from Juan Estrada from Linden, New Jersey. He's asking about non-custodial parents. And he says, my ex-wife and I have a child who lives with her. If I pay most of the child's support, can I claim the dependency exemption? Can I also file as a head of household to get a lower tax rate? So here's the deal, Juan. You can claim the dependency exemption as a non-custodial parent if your wife signs Form 8332. That's release of claim to exemption for child of divorced or separated parents. Now, while you cannot file as a head of household because the child did not live with you for more than half the year, your wife might be eligible for that. So go get publication 501. That's exemptions, standard deductions, and filing information. And all of the answers for you will be right there. And the next email comes from Nosen Farthen from Baltimore, Maryland, asking about conditional gifts. And he says, if I give my fiancé a valuable engagement ring, will it be subject to gift tax? Well, here's the deal. You can make gifts worth up to $13,000 to any individual annually and not owe gift tax. And if you marry in the year that you give the ring, it's also okay because spouses' gifts to each other are tax-free, and marital status at the end of the year governs the full year for tax purposes. So if you got married on December 31st at 11:59 p.m., you get the entire year. before that. So if the ring is worth more than $13,000 and you don't marry at the end of the year that you give it, state law is going to determine whether it's a gift. Now, in some states, an engagement ring is deemed a conditional gift that must be returned if no wedding occurs, so no gift tax then would apply. But in a state where the gift of the ring is deemed a completed gift that the recipient is entitled to keep, even if there is no marriage, gift tax does apply. So be careful and know what you're doing. How about this? Next email comes from Louis Flores from Danville, Virginia, asking about IRA contributions and says, I made a $4,000 contribution to a traditional IRA last year. At year end, I got a bonus that made my income too high to deduct the contribution because I am a participant in a qualified plan. Can I take it out of the IRA? Well, you know what, Louis? You can withdraw the contribution and the earnings that accrued on it within the IRA without penalty if you do it by April the 15th or October 15th if you filed an extension. Now, the withdrawal of the contribution will be tax-free while the earnings will be taxable income. But you can leave the contribution and earnings in the IRA by simply not deducting the contribution. It'll then continue to earn tax-deferred investment returns, and $4,000 of your future IRA withdrawals will be tax-free on the proportional basis if you make a non-deductible contribution recorded by filing Form 8606. That's non-deductible IRAs, and that'll help you out. Well, my last email comes from Sydney Gazinga from Bellflower, California, asking about innocent spouse, and says, my husband has been cheating on his taxes. If I file a separate return, can I avoid being liable? Well, you know what? For the current year, if you file as married filing separately, you're going to owe tax only on your own separate income, not on your husband's income. However, if your husband cheated in past years and you file joint returns for those years, you can't switch to filing separately for those years. After filing a separate return, you can still switch to filing jointly, but not the other way around. But you may still escape liability for your husband's taxes on your past year joint returns simply by claiming innocent spouse status. So go to IRS publication 971, that's innocent spouse relief, and consult a tax pro about that. And you'll be glad you did that, I can guarantee you. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live. On my next show, I'm going to be presenting some timely tax tips tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss them. And we'll be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, who's going to update us on wireless technology. If he doesn't know it, then it doesn't exist. So, you know what? I'm going to encourage you to please tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network, and I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.